Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of the Weekly Member Spotlight. I am going to sit down today with Mack Pairan with Autumn Security. But first, we just have a couple reminders for some events coming up at GCNKAA. We have the Business Exchange is coming up next week on the 24th. And then coming up in June, we have a couple events. We have a next gen breakfast at Adams Edge at 8:30 a.m. And we're going to be talking about technology how-tos there. And then the golf outing is on June 9th. So if you haven't registered for that, sorry, you're going to miss out this year. Registration is closed for the golf outing. So without further ado, welcome, Mack. Thank you so much for sitting down with me today.
Yeah.
How are you?
Thanks for having us. Doing good. And I'm really excited about being part of the spotlight and being part of the apartment association.
Yeah, we are so happy to have you. You're a new member. That's correct. With Autumn Security. So do you want to just kind of like dive in, tell us how you got into the security business, how you got into multifamily, and how where you are now?
Yeah, definitely. So it's kind of a long story on how we got into the security business. So when I was born, both my parents were working, their jobs. And my mom wanted to be a stay-at-home mom, and my dad wanted to help her pursue that and thought it was very important for her to be at home with me. And so he picked up a second job installing security systems for some other companies. And then he did that for, I think, 20 some years is about when we started our own businesses. That's when it came around. But previously he was a zookeeper. So he's still a zookeeper at the Cincinnati Zoo as we pursue this startup. And then about 2 or 3 years ago, the company he was working with got rid of all their subcontractors. And so we were talking about it. I was like, let's start our own thing. We can do this. I mean, I've always been very optimistic. And so I was like, well, if anybody can do it, we can do it. So let's figure this out. And so we started our company at the beginning of 2020. Planning on doing home security, one-off single-family homes. And then we're, getting our feet underneath us, getting some installs, and then COVID came. And so nobody wants you in their house.
Right.
So trying to say, hey, we want to come into your house and help you, automate it and secure it and all that kind of stuff, install cameras. Everybody's like, no, thanks, we're good, we're fine. We don't want anybody in here anyways. So then we were looking at commercial, we were playing around with our systems, seeing what we could do. And I realized that we had a really sleek builder program. And so what that allowed is for builders who had different communities that could manage the houses within each community. And I've always really loved the apartment industry. I've always thought it's, a great way to build wealth and passive income, although it's not usually that passive, right? So I started digging in. I said, this is a great solution for multifamily and apartment owners. And this is, it really would help streamline their operations. So we started doing some more digging into it. Realized that Slage had done a survey with 1,000 tenants or residents, and realized that on average, millennial renters are willing to pay 20% more if their apartment has smart home security and smart home solutions, which is a huge jump. Yeah, so we started digging in. And I really, I said, let's pursue this. And so we started talking to some people we knew who owned, some 4 families here and there. And they were like, yeah, this is a no-brainer. I mean, we need this in our apartments. And so we got with them. And then I was like, how do we go to a bigger market? There's obviously a big market in Cincinnati and really every city. People need homes. Most people, there's a large amount of renters. And so we found the National Apartment Association, and then it finally led its way down, and we found the Greater Cincinnati Northern Kentucky Apartment Association. Decided to join back in early 2022, and we've just been loving it. Love the community. We've met a lot of great people, and I would say that this group is super welcoming, and we just love being around.
Yeah, we are so glad to have you join. And we are definitely, everyone's very welcoming. Our committee, our association here locally is one of the best. Everyone's just absolutely phenomenal. So we're very glad to have you join us. So that's really awesome that you've taken that partnership with your father. You get to work with him. Is he pretty actively involved with
Yeah.
the setup? Yeah.
Yeah. So he definitely understands the technology a lot better than I do. And he is, if we had to give each other titles, he would be like the technology side, install side. I'm definitely more the marketing, and I understand the back end software really well. And so we have a very good balance of the skills that we bring to the business.
Nice. So what type of products are your like top sellers for the apartment industry?
Yeah,
Like
great question.
go-tos.
Yeah, smart thermostats are huge. Everybody, it's really nice to be able to control your thermostat from wherever you are. Um, Personally, my in-laws live in Columbus, and so one time on the way back, it had like the weather had changed over the weekend when we went up to visit, and I was like, I just changed our thermostat, kicked on the AC. It was nice and cool when we got back here. Didn't have to worry about it being too hot. It was really nice. Smart door locks are really nice as well. And with our program, you can add users, delete users within minutes. The activity log allows you to see, hey, this person entered at this time, or our maintenance people were in the apartment at this time. So it gives an activity log to prevent like any sort of false accusations. But it's also just helps streamline access overall. But personally, my favorite is our smart water valve. And what that does is it just goes onto the water valve. It's a simple, quarter turn motor. And then we have water sensors throughout the apartments that go like under the dishwasher, near the water heater, in the bathrooms. And if any time that one of those sensors detects water, it'll automatically shut off the water valve, preventing huge amounts of damage.
Wow. That would be extremely beneficial
Yeah,
to our industry. Water is so damaging and so costly to clean up after and do the repair. So that's, I'm sure it's an amazing product that you guys offer.
yeah, definitely.
Awesome.
And it's I think that we've caught a wave early. I've been saying this. We're catching a wave a little bit early. The market is coming around to it. There's other competitors, so obviously it's there's value in it. But I think as soon as it catches on, people are really just going to have this deep desire to have this in all their communities. And the smart thermostat, locks, that kind of stuff. Those are amenities that your tenants and residents are going to use every single day, instead
Right.
of a pool, which is seasonal. It's great. I'd move somewhere for a pool, but it's at least in Ohio and Kentucky, it's going to be just a summer thing. So
Yeah. Yeah. It is definitely pool season. All the apartment communities in our area are gearing up for Memorial Day weekend opening. So
yes, I
yeah,
love
those are
seeing all like the Instagram stories of the pools
great.
that are opening up and all that.
Work in progress and all the maintenance teams are working hard. So props to
Definitely.
them. So it's a busy time.
Yeah.
Well, that's fantastic. I really enjoyed hearing about your water valve feature. Just from past experience, so a huge help. Let's shift gears just a smidge and kind of dive into like more about you personally and your experience and just life in general.
Yeah.
So you want to tell us a little bit about your family, where you're from, what you up
Yep.
to?
Yeah. I grew up in Loveland. I have a younger brother, sister. Obviously, mom and dad. My dad's my business partner, so um, it's been fun just getting to work with him, growing a closer relationship in a much different way than what I think most people will experience. And then I'm recently married. Got married back in September. Uh,
Congrats.
Thank you. My wife and I live over in Hyde Park, and we love it here. I mean, we're just we can walk to the square and have graders in the evening, so gotta love that, right?
Yeah.
Um, I went to CHCA for high school, went to UC for college, and I have a degree in business administration. I took some years off in between, started a business in there, and really learned a lot. It wasn't a very profitable venture, but I would say that the lessons that I learned in that were extremely beneficial. And they've carried over into Autumn, and I would say that this has been an extremely fun venture to bring those lessons into.
That's awesome. And there's always something to learn and take away, even in our successes and failures all around, there's always lessons and valuable, knowledge and takeaways from that so you can apply to in the future now. So that's great. And I really like that you get to work with your father. Not a lot of people can say that they have that partnership, and that's really great that it's family business and
Yes,
working right along. That's awesome.
definitely a lot of fun. But sometimes at dinner, I'm like, all right, we're not talking about business tonight. We're just
Right.
having a
We're
family
off work.
night. Playing cards, no business. Need some time off. Need
Yeah.
family time.
Need that separation. That's very important.
Yes, it's a lot of fun.
Awesome. So are you a big reader? Do you have any favorite books you like to share?
Yes, I am an avid reader. It comes in waves. So like some, months I won't read as much as I like, but recently I've been reading a ton. The most recent book that I finished was What It Takes by Stephen Schwarzman. He's the founder of Blackstone. It just is an unbelievable story of how he grew up, and I mean, just a really kind of a middle class lifestyle, and then all of a sudden, he just had this drive to do something greater. His dad had a curtains and linen store, and he said, "Dad, this could be huge. Like, let's take this nationwide." Dad said no. Okay, what about statewide? Dad said no. All right, what if we open just like up one more location? No, I'm happy. And so, but he had this deep drive to do more, and it's a great story. It's a great story. But I think my number one favorite book of all time is How to Win Friends and Influence People. It's kind of cliche in the business world, but I read about once a year just as a refresher. And business is easy to get into numbers and kind of get heady and start thinking, okay, if we did this and we had this many, at least in the multifamily world, or this many units and we were doing this kind of numbers, we'd be doing great. But at the end of the day, it's all about relationships. It's all about people, and it's always just kind of brings me back to the ground level and saying, okay, how am I treating the people around me? Am I treating them as another number, or am I remembering that it's a relationship first kind of thing? So it's my favorite book of all time.
Yep. You got to treat your people well.
Yes.
Very important. Make those relationships, those connections. So I will have to check that one out, as well as the story about Blackstone. I've not heard of that. So
Yeah. Both are great.
Well, probably like one of my favorite parts of our member spotlight is like, what do you read? Like, taking it.
Yes, I am like I said, I'm an avid reader. So if you have any recommendations, I would love to hear that, and I will add them to my Amazon cart.
Yes, I will send those over to you. Awesome. So you live in Hyde Park. Do you have any favorite restaurants in the area?
Oh yes, Green Papaya. It's a Thai restaurant. There's one in Hyde Park and there's one in Marymount. And I think my wife, when we were engaged, we found it during our COVID, and they have great takeout. It's like super easy, not too expensive, and the food is just to die for, in my opinion.
Nice.
But I like a lot of different cuisines. I know some people are very picky, but Thai food is my go-to.
It's one of our favorites as well.
Yeah.
And there's a restaurant like right down the street from my house, and he does sushi and tacos, and they opened right before COVID hit, but he does takeout, and it is so good. So we get it all the time.
What's it called?
Zozo's. It's in Burlington. You have to cross
Zozo's?
the river.
Not too far from me. We might have to try that.
Yeah, it's great. So you have pets, dog lover.
Yes, very much. We have a English bulldog and a chocolate lab. So very different personalities for dogs. The English bulldog wants to sleep all day, and Luna, the chocolate lab, she'll walk until your legs fall off. She just has so much energy. So very different, but they get along. They're super funny together. Great.
I love dogs. We have an American bulldog. She, takes after the English bulldog. Her favorite thing is sleeping. So.
Yes. I mean, they're great like apartment dogs, great young couple dogs. But I mean, it just cracks me up how much she's actually sleeping on the floor behind me right now, like lightly snoring. So
that's funny. I had to kick mine out because they will want to be on screen and like participate in what I'm doing.
Really?
Yeah, if I leave the door open or if it does not latch all the way, they'll come in and they'll just hop up like, hi.
That's hilarious. That's
awesome. So what about TV shows? What are your favorite TV shows at the moment?
Yeah. Yeah, I spent a lot of my time like focused on the business, and um, I definitely like I live a lot in my head, and so if I can find something that's like very mindless, easygoing, um, that's my go-to. Something that has a lot of seasons or a lot of episodes. Um, right now, my wife and I are watching. It's called Pentaveret. It's like a spoof of the Illuminati, or like what the Illuminati would be. They're a secret society, but they do good for the world. It's quite the show. I mean, it's a little raunchy here and there, and but it's a good show.
Nice. Awesome. You a big sports fan?
A little bit.
Yeah.
Definitely grew up being a Reds fan. Going to the games, played little league. And actually, my younger brother is playing little league right now, so it's baseball. It's baseball season, so been watching a lot of baseball. But the Reds are probably my favorite team, and obviously the Bengals. I mean, who can't?
Right.
I have no hate for them after this past year, right? Some years you think, oh, come on, whatever. We have a football team in Cincinnati, whatever. But
Well, we
this
know.
year, yeah, we'll take
Yeah.
them this year.
Yeah. Oh, awesome. Are you like a big music lover? Do you like to go to a bunch of concerts, anything like that? Favorite
I'm sorry,
concert?
you broke up a little there. What was
Oh,
that?
so sorry. What about concerts? Do you like to go to concerts, listen to music?
I'm not a big concert person. And especially I feel like after like COVID and everybody being in the house, like I've been a lot less like outgoing and social lately, unfortunately. But um, again, when my wife and I were engaged, we went to the Maroon 5 concert. It was like her brother wanted that as his birthday gift, so we all went, and it was a lot of fun. And Maroon 5 puts on quite a show. I mean, Adam Levine is just a showman at heart, so it was great.
Awesome. That sounds like fun. I been to a couple concerts, but I'm not like a huge fan of a large crowd, so I kind of not go to those type of events. But I'm always like, well, it looks like fun. But then I'm like,
You get there and you're overwhelmed a little. Yeah, I wasn't like
yeah,
I'm not a big crowd person either, even before COVID, like all like and being in the house all the time. But you know, it was okay. It was outdoors, so
yeah, it was all right.
yeah,
Concert's good, fun time.
yeah, okay.
All right, random question.
Yeah,
If you could be an animal, what would you be and why?
yeah. So as I said before, my dad is a zookeeper um, at the Cincinnati Zoo. He works with the rhinos, and so if I had to pick one, my go-to would be the rhinos. Growing up, being able to like pet them, feed them, that kind of stuff has always been super cool.
Yeah,
And they're big, they're tough, but they're also very gentle, which is I think super important in life and relationships. You sometimes you need to be a little stern, sometimes you need to be gentle. It's just part of it.
yeah.
Rhino would be
So
good.
that'd be good too. Ryan, yeah. So funny story. My father used to work at the Cincinnati Zoo when I was younger.
Really.
And that was my first job. I went around, he would take me to work with him in the summer and I would pick up trash, but I got to go like, to see all the exhibits all day and you see all their families. And I'm just like, I can see all of it all day. I was going to clean up trash. I was like 15 or 16.
Yeah.
But I grew up at the zoo, going, and behind the scenes and getting to see all those animals. So it was my favorite memories of my child. I think it's just like, oh, I got to see the baby monkey. Like,
Yeah.
so.
Wait, at the Cincinnati Zoo?
Oh,
How long ago was that?
hmm,
Not that long ago.
pro-
I'm sure.
probably
Sure.
a while, like 20 years.
Okay, my dad's been there for 30, so I'm sure my
Yeah, they
dad.
probably know each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool. Small world.
Yeah. No, but yeah, I really agree. Love the zoo. Love that your dad's member works at the zoo, takes care of those animals.
Yep.
Near and dear to my heart. So
Great. We love it. It's a good zoo too.
yeah, it is beautiful. Awesome. Well, you have any pieces of advice or words of knowledge for the next generation coming into our industry?
Yeah, we're actually sponsoring the Next Gen event, and that is because I have a big heart for young leaders. I feel like I'm one myself. I'm only 24 and in the industry, but I would say like what I've learned in different meetings and all kinds of stuff is don't be afraid to speak up as a young person. Oftentimes you can get really scared and nervous, like, oh, I don't really know if I have much to add. I'm not very experienced. And yes, that can be, sometimes they want experience to speak, but oftentimes the industry needs new and innovative ideas. They need to hear new perspectives, and that's exactly what young leaders bring. And if you've been in the industry for 20 some years, you're going to say, well, that's how we've always done it. And that young leader is going to say, well, what if we tried it this way? And then the company might try it your way, or they might think about it doing your way. They're going to say, maybe we shouldn't have always done it that way. They'll try their new thing. It's more efficient. It works out better for them. And then all of a sudden you brought a lot more to the table than you thought you could ever bring.
Yeah, absolutely. Got to speak up. So yeah, I mean, it's your idea. No one's gonna, if somebody else didn't think of it, why not you?
Yeah.
So,
If it gets rejected, that's okay too.
sure.
At least you spoke up and at least you brought it. And that way, if they find out 5 years down the line that you had this idea, it would have been more efficient. They're going to be upset that you didn't even speak up at all. So
Right.
rejection is a part of life too. So if you can just
100%.
speak, rejected, that's good.
Totally fine. Awesome. Well, it's been a pleasure to sit down, meet with you, and discuss autumn security. Look forward to seeing you at the next Gen event. Thank you so much for your sponsorship and joining our association here. We are very happy to have you.
Yes, thank you so much for having me, and we're excited to be a part of it. And like I said, build those relationships and get to know the people. It's been so welcoming, and we're really appreciative of that.
Thank you. Well, you have a fantastic rest of your Friday and have a wonderful weekend.